Elise, Matt, it's great to have you both here with me today. I really appreciate you both coming down to share your reporting on this very important, very, very crazy story. Thanks for coming.
Of course, thank you for having us.
So one of the things from where I'm sitting that makes this a super crazy story is the paucity of official information that's come out, right? There's been lots of finger pointing, lots of suggestion, some recriminations even at this point, but no one has come out and said like exactly what the hell this thing is. I want to acknowledge right now that that could be totally different by the time people see this conversation. But for right now, Elise, what do we know in terms of hard facts?
Yeah, I think we know several things to start off with. We know that the FBI searched and raided the homes of some APD DWI unit officers and the office of a local attorney, Thomas Clear. We know that the FBI is then investigating these officers, and it seems to be the allegations that seem to be swirling around within the legal community seem to point to that there is some kind of collusion between the defense attorney and the officers to maybe get cases dismissed to get favorable outcomes. We also now know that in November, the district court flagged that one of their former employees had a concerning interaction with one of the DWI officers who has been named in this investigation, who we have named in this investigation, and that officer kind of had hinted that he could get the case dropped if he hired a certain lawyer. And we know that 150 DWI cases have been dropped, so that's also a huge deal that's going to have consequences kind of rolling on down the line.
And has obviously led to some of the dot connecting, right? You've got this piece, this piece, this piece, they seem to be connected. Let's look through the other end of the kaleidoscope. Matt, what don't we know, and what would you like to know right now at this stage?
I mean, we don't know how exactly this all played out, and if there was different mechanisms through which this played out with, if the allegations through the attorneys and the officers. We don't know how high up it went. We don't know who might have known higher up within the department or within any other agencies. We don't really know how much investigation was going into it on APD's side when allegations first kind of arose earlier that apparently were vague. We just don't know how far this goes, and that's, I think, what I would like to know the most is where does this stop? Where these allegations lead us? Who all was who had knowledge of this? And
so the timelines and the scope at this point are the parts that are really, really still fuzzy. Another thing I want to acknowledge right now is that we know most of what we know because of the work of journalists, including yourselves. So I want to ask sort of a journalism question. In a story like this that is so dangerous, so sensitive, I mean, we're talking about the feds investigating cops and attorneys, and with nobody speaking officially, confirming details, things like that. And I want both of you to weigh in on this. How do you decide that you've got enough to publish another story that turns the wheel in a story like this? What's your process to know that you can publish something that's true?
You mean as far as identifying people and mechanisms happening?
Yeah.
Basically, I think to be sure of something, we hear a lot of things and we don't know if they're true or not. And some ways in which we'll find out is we will kind of confirm them through background or off the record with others to kind of get our own peace of mind. But how we found out about these people and who they were and stuff was through property searches, online databases, we had an idea of where the FBI had gone in some instances, and we looked up those addresses and we found out who was the owner of those homes and basically found their phone numbers, called them. Some of them we called and basically asked and had them, one of these officers confirm to us that they were on leave as a result of this investigation. And then, even if you put those pieces together, we're FBI went to this home, that this person lives at this home, you still go back and, through the proper channels to, even if it's off the record, to just get that peace of mind of yes, this is the correct person, you are not wrong, and this is who was the target, this is the house that was searched. And that just, I think you just need that security blanket. Even if you know it in your head. It's like, it's not what you know, it's what you can prove, you know? And I think you just need that like background security blanket to get from A to B, unlike from like getting to knowing it to proving it in publishing.
And that's the old editor line of like, yeah, great story, better if true, right? And so I want people to like be crystal clear here. You guys aren't guessing, you're not making things up. And you just described the way in which you were able to publicly identify the officers who appear to be targets in the investigation. One thing that's interesting to me is that the two of you used to be a team at the Journal, and now you're competing on this story. Elise, you published the names of the officers as well, but you got there in a really different fashion. What were the breadcrumbs for you?
Yeah, first off, I want to say I think like we're kind of competing on this story, but I also think that like competition makes transparency better, makes accountability better. So I think we're all working for the greater good in this competition. I think Matt actually named the officers first, and I'm sure anyone who went through the list of 150 dismissed DWI cases could notice that there was a very clear pattern. Those 4 officers were named time and time and time again, some of them, dozens and dozens of times. And so we had an idea just from that. And then what we did is we went to the district attorney's office and asked them for the Giglio list. District attorneys have to keep a list internally or publish it as they are now doing to
thank you, by the way, for making them publish.
You're welcome. All it took was a story. So district attorneys have to keep records to share with the defense attorneys about which officers they believe might have credibility issues. That could be, that they've been accused of lying in the past, or they've been found to have been lying in the past. They've had concerning social media. It can be all sorts of different things. But in this case, as soon as we saw that these 4 officers were named on the Giglio list very recently, after the investigation started, that for us felt enough to go forward with it and say like, okay, here we have the DA saying that these officers are untrustworthy and that's why they're on the list and that's why he had to dismiss the cases. Yeah. So at that point we felt like we had enough to publish their names.
And they're recent additions to the Giglio list too, right? They're the 4 names at the bottom, same names we're seeing in the dismissal lists.
Yeah.
I think that's super interesting that you guys got to the same place, but you did it in different ways. Let's shift gears just a little bit here. I want to talk about the investigation, and in fact, there are 2 investigations. So right now we are looking at parallel but different investigations. Matt, can you explain what the difference is in those 2 investigations, who's conducting them, and how the stakes are different in particular?
So what we know is from APD, according to APD, in December 2022, they basically got some kind of, and this is how their investigation kind of molded to what it is today. Like basically December 2022, they got a tip off that some kind of corruption, misconduct was happening involving DWI officers, but they said they had the details wrong, and it was also vague, and apparently it involved bars and not traffic stops somehow. And so basically, like, they told us that they started a preliminary investigation to see if it warranted a full internal investigation, and then apparently, I don't know what happened there exactly, but fast forward to October, and as Elise reported, this court employee made a official complaint against an officer alleging like a similar thing to what they had heard before, but more detailed, and it kind of, APD has said that connected the dots for them. What it also did was the FBI learned about this, and they had been doing their own investigation, and we don't know how long, I don't know how long they have been investigating this. But basically, you have the FBI then calling APD and saying, hey, there's this internal complaint filed, we're doing an investigation on this. And, from both of them, both agencies have said they started working together then, but their investigations are different. APD's is internal, these officers are on leave. Obviously, that could lead to terminations, discipline. The FBI is a criminal investigation, which could lead to criminal charges. I mean, those are like the distinct differences between them.
So the stakes are somebody's job versus somebody's freedom is what we're talking about here. Mm-hmm. Okay, so the impacts have already been pretty substantial in this case. We've got 150 DWI cases dismissed. We've got cops on leave. We've got city councilors saying that this may be the biggest public corruption scandal in APD history. There's a lot going on, right? One thing I want to ask you, Elise, is what are you hearing from sources and readers about what this does to credibility for law enforcement in our community?
Yeah, I think it's a black eye. I think there's no way around it. Even though we don't know exactly what happened yet, we know enough to know that the FBI is investigating officers, and the officers are the ones you want not to be investigated. You want them doing the right thing. So I think it's automatically going to be a problem. Also, the department is under 10 years at this point of a consent decree, and I think that we will have to at some point step away from this and think about like accountability systems and kind of like what got missed, and also how is the department kind of policing itself and investigating itself as well, and to kind of catch these things earlier before it becomes a criminal investigation or before it gets to where it did.
And I want to get back to that in just a second, but one of the big things we don't know yet, Matt, you alluded to this a second ago, are the timelines. It's sort of the old Howard Baker line from the Watergate era. What did Chief Medina know and when did he know it? Same goes for DA Bregman. Why is it important for us to know the answers to those questions?
I mean, it goes to what Elise said about accountability. You're supposed to hold your officers accountable. There's systems in place to investigate things like this. And there's systems in place that are supposed to catch things like this. And it sounds like maybe they didn't in this case, but I think we need to know who know what, how strong what they knew was, and what they did about it. And without knowing that, I can't judge now, but I think the cards are going to fall sometime, and we're going to find out. But I think it's just huge from a leadership perspective. You want leaders to be holding officers accountable, or their prosecutors, whoever isn't, you just want there to be stopgaps to not have this ever happen again. And I think in addition to holding leaders accountable, you also want to make sure that what are they going to do now to make sure that whatever fell through the cracks before, if that's what happened, doesn't happen again.
Yeah. So that sort of hints at the possibility of potential institutional failure here. I want to end with just a little bit of extra context. First of all, what we're talking about here are not shoplifting cases. These are DWI cases in a state that has a long and tortured history with alcohol-related traffic fatalities and things like that, right? Officers missing court or pretrial interviews has been a known cause for these cases to be dismissed for decades. I wrote about this back in 2005 when I had the job that you used to have and that Matt has now at the Albuquerque Journal. There were supposed to have been some guardrails put in place in the aftermath of those stories, and that was 20 years ago. You had a story published this week, Elise, in which you sort of dug into that. What did you find out about what's supposed to be in place to catch something like this before you've got guys in windbreakers kicking people's doors down?
Yeah, well, first off, thank you, Past Jeff, for writing all those articles. They're very helpful starting off points, and I did a deep dive through all of them. So basically what I found in 2007, there was a report given to the Metro Court that said, it laid out a bunch of different ways that they could address these, the higher dismissal rate. But the one that I was most interested in was one that said Metro Court should maybe publish a list of cases where officers failed to appear and that dismissed the case. And when I asked Metro Court about that, this week, they said that, the criminal justice partners decided ultimately it would be better for the Bernalillo County District Attorney's Office to be kind of in charge of that, because the Metro Court kind of wants to stay removed from it. They want to be impartial, and they don't want to kind of be in charge of that part of the process. So it seems like now, since then, the District Attorney's Office, if an officer missed a hearing, they would send a form email basically to the department to let them know. But then in 2014, it came out that maybe that system wasn't working very well. There's high turnover in DA's offices. They weren't catching everything necessarily. I also don't think it really accounted for other things like, not turning over discovery or not attending pretrial interviews, which is very different from a hearing. Those are like private interviews with attorneys. And that's kind of where I am now. I'm hoping to find out a lot more what happened after 2014. It seemed like APD was saying that this was a problem, but I don't know yet if there were any answers to that yet. I have been told that APD will have more answers to that soon, but they're still trying to figure out, I guess, exactly what the process is. But it seems like it wasn't working effectively if such a high number of cases involving certain officers were getting dismissed. And that didn't get red flagged.
Elise, Matt, I really appreciate both of your work on this story. I will certainly be watching and reading for what y'all dig up next. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Thanks for inviting us.